Welcome to chapter 28 of the book of 1 Samuel. David has left from Saul in Israel, has went into Philistia, the Palestine area, to escape Saul, and is marauding in the area of the Philistines, but not letting the ruler of Gath, know exactly what he's doing. And it continues now. It came to pass in those days that the Philistines were gathered together in their camps to come forth for war against Israel. And Achish said to David, "In knowing you shall know that with me you shall go forth unto the war, you and your men." And David said to Achish, "Well, thus now you shall know what your bondman will do. What are we going to do?" And Achish said to David, "Well, thus, as chief of the bodyguard, I shall appoint you for all the days." And Samuel died. This is a little side note. Samuel died, and all Israel lamented him and entombed him in Aramathaim, in his city. And now it changes and goes back to Saul. Saul removed the ones who deliver oracles, which God told the people of sons of Israel to kill anyone who does these things, the diviners from the land, people that foretell the future or tell things that would direct your life, but not God. And we see that today there are people, they're called mystics. Right down the street from me on the corner, a store is a place that has all these types of things for searching the oracle, whatever it is, a crystal ball. And those days, the rulers of the nations would they would sacrifice or slay certain animals and look at their livers. Alexander the Great did that. And then there were they're in Greece, the places where, I can't think of the word, that people would go to find what they should or they shouldn't do, is in Greek mythology. I guess it would be the oracle. The Delphi oracle was a famous one. So this has been going on for many years. When I was a kid, we would have the gypsies. They would come into town, and they would open up these places that would read your fortune until they were made to leave by the authorities. And they did this all over the country. So today, who is delivering oracles or divining what is going to go on? Who do you listen to? Who do I listen to? I listen to God. You can listen to the news, and you get your information from the news, and listen to the prognosticators, that's what they call them, the talking heads on TV, to find out what might or might not happen, to how to run your life, what to do, what to flee from, so forth. But they are just as false as anyone else, because no one really knows what the future's going to hold. Right now we're in 2020, July the 5th, and the shutdown by the government throughout the world is being done, I believe, by a higher authority than any one man or any country or any groups of peoples. Nobody could pull this off except for one power, and that's the ruler of this world, who Jesus calls the devil. And he is the ruler of this world, and he is going to come and deceive the world. And even the believers, if it was possible, which by God saying, if it was possible, then it wouldn't be possible. If there are the believers are still left at that period of time, they may very well have been taken. And so nobody foresaw this shutdown of the whole world almost overnight. And things like this can happen. So God is in control of my life, and hopefully he's in control of your life also. But Saul did remove these oracles, made it illegal, and the diviners. But what happens? The Philistines gather together and come, and they camp in Shunem. And Saul gathers together every man of Israel, and they camp in Gilboa, Mount Gilboa. And Saul beheld the camp of the Philistines, and he was fearful, the phobia, ephovithi, and it startled his cardia heart exceedingly. And Saul asked through the Lord, and the Lord did not answer to him in the dreams, nor in manifestations, nor among the prophets. He probably called in the chief priests, which I don't know who would have been because he killed most of them, Abiathar and so forth. So, or was it, Ahimelech. Abiathar is his son, went with David. So the prophets, and nobody was answering to Saul, and he was worried. And Saul said to his servants, "Seek to me a woman who delivers oracles, and I will go to her, and I will inquire by her." And his servants said to him, "Well, behold, there's a woman who delivers oracles in Endor, gynecology and misogyny for women." And Saul changed appearance, put on different robes, put around other garments, and he himself goes, and 2 men with him. And they come to the woman by night at Endor. And he said to her, "Use oracles indeed for me by the delivering an oracle, and lead up to me whomever I should tell you." And the woman said to him, "Behold, you know as much as Saul did, as he utterly destroyed the ones delivering up oracles and the diviners from the land. And why do you ensnare my life to put it to death?" And Saul, she didn't know who he was, and Saul swore by an oath to her, according to God, saying, "As lives the Lord, shall injustice meet up with you in this matter?" Now, it's a question, and we see this E here. Whenever you see the E, then generally it's a question that requires a negative. No, injustice will not meet up with you. And the Guinea said to Saul, "Well, whom should I lead up to you?" And he said, "Well, lead up Samuel to me." And the woman beheld Samuel. It doesn't say that Saul did. Apparently he didn't, because he asked what he looks like. And so here, Samuel now does come back, and in a way, through this oracle. So this type of operation of people calling up the dead, it is valid because it's in the Bible, but it's very dangerous, I believe. I have not called up anybody from the dead to find out anything I should do, but I think that the people that do call up an ex-spouse or somebody, it can be a very dangerous thing. You might find out something you'd be better off not knowing, which happens here. And the woman, the Guinea, said to Saul, "Why did you mislead me? You are Saul, even you are Saul." And the king said to her, "Do not fear," the foe began. "Whom do you see?" And the woman said to Saul, "Well, I see magistrates, judges, ascending from out of the earth," which Samuel was. They're ascending from out of the earth. So apparently this is where the people that died before Jesus were in the earth. The ones that die in Christ are asleep, and I don't believe they know what's going on. But these all will be brought together at one time, the resurrection. And Saul said to her, "What did you perceive?" And she said to him, An aged man ascending, being cloaked in a double garment, 2 garments. And Saul knew that this was Samuel. And he bowed upon the face, upon the ground, and did obeisance to him. And Samuel said, Why did you give me trouble to me to cause me to ascend? This reminds me of Lazarus being raised from the dead by Jesus. Jesus cried. I believe he cried because he was going to bring Lazarus back to a worse place than where he was. He was asleep, because this is what Jesus said, but now he's going to have to bring him back. And Jesus cried, wept, it says. And why was it worse for Lazarus? Well, because afterwards we read that Jesus went to a dinner with the people that were there, and there were scribes and Pharisees, and it mentions how that the rulers wanted to kill Jesus and Lazarus. So Lazarus is now came back as a marked man, which was worse than before. And Saul said to Samuel, I am afflicted very much, and the Philistines wage war with me, polemusin, the verb for waging war, the polemics. And God has left from me theos, and he does not heed me any longer, nor by the hand of the prophets, propheton, nor by dreams. And now I call you to make known to me what I should do. And Samuel said, Why do you ask me? And the Lord has left from you and is taken up with your neighbor. The Lord has done to you as he said by my hand. And the Lord will tear the kingdom from out of your hand and will give it to your neighbor, to David. For you hearkened not to the voice of the Lord, and you did not fill the rage of his anger against Amalek, which he was supposed to kill them all, king, and he saved the king. I forgot his name. On account of this thing the Lord did to you thus in this day. And the Lord will deliver up Israel with you into the hands of the Philistines. And tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Now, does that mean that Saul will be in heaven with the Lord? It sounds like it, even though he did things that were wrong. But so did David, and the Lord will put the camp of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. They're going to lose to the Philistines. And Saul hastened and fell full stop upon the ground and feared very much from the words of Samuel. He just collapsed, more or less. And there was not strength in him any longer. He was like a dead person, for he did not eat bread all that day and all the night. Nikta, nocturnal, comes from that. And the woman entered to Saul and beheld that he hastened very much. He was disturbed, basically. And she said to him, Behold, your bondwoman hearkened to your voice, phone, and I put my life in your hand. And I put my life in my hand for you, basically, and I hearkened to your words which you spoke to me. And now, here, acoustics, derivative, indeed the phones of your bondwoman. For I will place before you a morsel of bread, and you eat, and it will be for strength to you that you should go in the way. And he resisted persuasion and wanted not to eat. And they pressed him, his servants and the woman. And he hearkened to their voice, and rose up from the ground and sat upon the chair. And to the woman was a suckling calf by the house, and she hastened and slayed it, and took flour and mixed it, and baked unleavened breads for food for him, for everyone. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants. And they ate, and rising up, they went forth that night. So Saul is now going to go to war with the Philistines, as you can see here in chapter 29, the next chapter. Hope you'll continue and find out what happens to Saul and Jonathan. Till then, God bless.